Right, we're going to draw a graph to look at some data. Let's have a look here. Right, so this video is to explain how to use Google Sheets to do a graph plot, find the equation of the line, and then find the maximum and minimum uncertainty in the intercept and the gradient. So what we've got here is a set of data. You might recognize it, you've just done it in your test. And we have mass, which is our independent variable, and velocity, which is our dependent variable. So you place them in this order. You write the independent variable first, okay, and then your dependent variable on the next column, and that's how Google Sheets will recognize it. And now you insert a chart, and we're going to use scatter graph. There's a whole selection of them, so make sure that scatter is selected, and then check your axes. You can see mass is on the x-axis and velocity is on the y-axis. So I'm just going to change the title. This is not an appropriate title. Your title should be more about the research question itself, or what the graph specifically is showing you. So let me change that. Here we go, the effect of mass on velocity, and that's our points. Now the first thing we're going to do is change the appearance of our points. These points are too big. And when you start putting error bars and stuff, they'll get in the way. So we're going to change the border color. That's fine. Chart axis style. Nope, that's not it. Series. Here we go. Series. We're going to change the dots to black, and we're going to make them much smaller. Here, 7 point. No, let's make them 2. Okay, that's much better. And in fact, a cross is always better. There we go, a nice little cross. If you find that that's too small, you can change it here and make it 3. There we go, or even 4. There we go. And now our crosses are visible, right? Now we want a line of best fit. It's not quite a line of best fit, we get a trend line. And what Google Sheets does is it uses equations to try and find the best or most appropriate shape. So it will just throw some trend lines at you. Now what it's doing is it's showing me a linear line, a linear scale, right? So it's basically just drawn a line. You can select all kinds of different ones, which in this case, it's pretty pointless because you can see quite clearly that it is a line. But if you have a curved relationship and you start looking at the exponential, the polynomial, look, polynomial could be polynomial as well. Power series, for example. And then these will allow you to take a bit of a guess as to what the mathematical relationship behind your data might be. Okay, but in this case, we're pretty clear that it's linear and it fits. Now, as you can see, the lines are hiding, the line is kind of hiding the crosses now, so I'm going to make that line a bit thinner. So what you've got there is a nice clearly drawn line, and the points are still quite visible. Right, so that's that. The next thing I want to do is find the line of best fit, the equation, sorry. The next thing I want to do is find the equation of this line, and so I go to label and I use equation. Okay, and so now what it's given me here is that the velocity equals 4x plus minus 6. Now I have a problem because I can't see that, and it's nice to actually make the intercept visible because my graph has a false origin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that false origin by finding the horizontal line and asking for a minimum, right? So I want it to start at 0, so the minimum value is going to be 0. Okay, so now we can see quite clearly that the intercept is going to go below the 0 line. But I want to see that intercept. So now I'm going to go to the vertical axis. And if I go to the vertical axis here, I want the minimum value to be, well, minus 8, for example, because I know it's going to go to minus 6. So I'm going to write minus 8. And now I can see the graph in all its glory, right? I can see the intercept, etc. And so now I have the gradient, which is 4, the slope, and I have the intercept, which is minus 6. Okay, and I have an equation of the line for this relationship. The next challenge is going to be the error bars. Now this is difficult with Google Sheets, because it won't only let you do one error bar. And for most of the time, that would be enough. But if you find that you need 2 error bars, you might have to either invest in Excel or use do it by hand and then just take a picture and upload it into your digital work. But let's try error bars now. What we can see is that we have 2 error bars. We're going to take the greatest one here, which is velocity, and the error bars immediately come up as 2% or 10%, sorry. Now we don't want to use a percentage error bar. We're going to use a constant, and that constant value is 2, okay? So there we go. Our velocity error bars are 2, which is nice. So now I've got those error bars. How do I now draw the maximum and minimum gradients? Well, what you're going to do is plot an extra 2 lines. Like, you literally have to make Google Sheets think that you've got 3 lines instead of 1. So what we're going to do is have a look at our original data table. Now, in our original data table, we can see that at mass 3, which is our smallest point, our lowest point here, okay, the velocity is 6 plus or minus 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our minimum line. See, is this our minimum? 3? No, this is our maximum line. Okay, we're going to do our maximum line using 2 points. Our maximum line is going to have this point here and this point, and then Google Sheets is just going to plot those 2 as an extra line. So I just need to tell Google Sheets what these 2 coordinates are, this one here and this one here. So at mass equals 3, then the velocity is going to be 6, which is this point, minus 2, which is 4. So that's this point. And now we need to tell Google Sheets about this point, which is going to be 26 here, 26 plus 2, right, which gives us 28. Now, I'm going to get rid of that original graph, and I'm going to highlight all 3 columns like that, okay? And I'm going to insert chart. Yay! And it looks kind of strange. Don't panic and don't worry about this stuff for now. What we're going to do is go straight to customize, and we're going to do exactly the same as before. We're going to do a line of best fit, a trend line. And what we've got there are 2 trend lines. Once again, we're going to have to get rid of the huge, the size of our points. Got our X mark, that might be too small, so make that a little bit bigger. Okay, 4. And we can see our 2 lines here. And now we're going to do a 3rd one. Okay, so I'm going to do that again, but now for the minimum line. So let me delete that graph. And using minimum, what you can see is I've done exactly the same thing as before. For mass 3, velocity 6, I'm now going to go above, right? Because I want to find the minimum value. So 6 plus 2 would be 8, and 26 minus 2 is 24. So I should have 3 lines now. Let me just highlight that. Insert chart. Ignore this craziness and go to series. Oops, sorry. Start that again. We've gone to column, right? So we need to go to scatter here. Okay. Kind of looks like it makes sense. Now, customize. We go to series and go down to trend line. Okay, so there you've got your 3 lines, your maximum, your minimum, and your velocity one. And we're going to apply data tables. So data tables will give us our equation. So here we go, label, use equation, and now we have our 3 equations. Okay, so there are our 3 equations of the line. Let me now tidy up the graph again. There we go, our graphs with a title, with the origin at 0, and this is what the final graph will look like. So our final uncertainty in the slope would be 4.8 minus 3.2 divided by 2, which will give us an uncertainty of about 0.8. Now, careful with the units. Units of uncertainties and units of slopes are really important. And here it would be meters per second over kilograms for the gradient, for the slope. And then the uncertainty in the intercept would be 10.4 minus 1.6 divided by 2, okay, which would give us approximately 4.4 meters per second. And this is it. This is as far as you need to go. This would give you maximum credit, and it shows a total understanding of the topic. So let me know if you have any further questions, and please upload the work that you've done now following this video.